Thank you for joining us with this lecture. A Kongo proverb affirms that makukua, matatu, malâmba, Kôngo, mamôle, mbodi, mâmbu. This saying teaches us that the principle of Trinity is the foundation of Kongo culture. But in fact, Trinity is not only a foundational principle to African traditional spirituality and its organization of mysteries. It is also essential to the practice of spiritual healing. And that is what we are going to learn in this lecture.
Welcome to the channel Zilalowa of Dr. Yaluka. To begin, please subscribe and tick the notification bell in order not to miss our videos. Thank you for joining.
As it has always been with the previous lectures, we will start by the usual introductions. We will first introduce the lecturer, the time, and his academy, which is in Tilalowa. And we will explain the Kemetic nature of this academy. And then we will establish scientifically, thanks to systematic natural theology, the notion of solar trinity, that is, Trinity according to the Black spiritual tradition. And we will then expose its application to spiritual healing. I'm Dr. Katizwa Lubanzadio Lialuka. I hold a PhD honor from Trinity Graduate School of Apologetics and Theology. So I'm an apologist. As such, I specialize in the scientific defense of African spirituality and epistemology. As a scholar, I founded Dilalowa, which is a modern academy of African traditional spirituality. Dilalowa comprises two branches, an academic branch called Institut des Sciences Animiques. Within the setting of this branch, we made research and we published 15 books that are available at Amazon.com. And we authored about 32 scientific papers that can be consulted in academia.edu. Ndilalowa comprises also an initiatory branch, which is called also Ndilalowa. So Ndilalowa comprised the Institut des Sciences Animiques and Ndilalowa. In this initiatory branch, we introduced the African people, the Black people, to the divine practice of the religion bequeathed by their ancestors. African traditional religion can be practiced at the divine level or at the human level. The divine practice is seldom seen. What is seen in majority of the cases is the human practice of African traditional religion. So Njilalewa deals with the divine practice of African traditional religion, a practice based on the purification of thought, a practice in which the intervening ancestors are those who abide in water. in a sphere of purity. In this practice, healing is operated by the purification of thoughts. In this practice, the power developed through the purification of thought is perpetuated through faith, has a power to be used in the human practice of African traditional religion. This means that the divine practice is the foundational practice, the foundation of African traditional civilization. Ndilalowa is a Kemetic academy because it refers to ancient Egypt as well. However, our Kemetism is different from the traditional Kemetism. The traditional Kemetism or Kemetic movement started during the year 1970s, and it was introduced by the seminal work of Sheikh Anta Diop. This trend of Kemetism is an eclectic movement that relies on intuition, on induction, and speculation in order to make a reading of the Nedu nature, the ancient writings of the Egyptian, and reintroduce their religion. This leads to a religion belief as the other religions of the world. And generally, the tradition of Kemetism is an anti-Bible movement. As for our movement, which is the Neokemetism, it started in the year 2008 with the discovery of the Kemetic cosmological argument. We are going to speak about this argument soon. This argument is a deduction from the premises, which are two premises, which are the existence of individuality and the law of causality. And these arguments extend into a natural systematic theology, the first in the known history of humanity. The Kemetic cosmological argument exposes a religion which is an exact science and which is the original form of African traditional religion, which has been kept by the Bantu people, especially the Kongo people, in their religion book Kôngo. In the Neokemetism, we use, therefore, deduction and comparative study. Thus, we don't reject the Bible, we don't reject the spiritual principles that are in the Bible because they were stolen from us, from our ancestors. And through comparative study, we can see in the Bible what belongs to us and what doesn't belong to us. So we don't reject everything globally. The title of today's lecture is Solar Trinity and the Practice of Spiritual Healing. Or I can say Solar Trinity and the Divine Practice of Spiritual Healing. Solar Trinity is Trinity as taught by the Black spiritual tradition. It is a scientific principle that can be demonstrated thanks to the Kemetic cosmological argument. This argument is the statement of the systematic natural theology of the religion bequeathed by our ancestors. This, the continuity of the religion stated by this argument is the book Kongo, the Kongo religion. We can introduce these arguments in the following manner. I'm an individual being, you are individual beings, therefore this temporal universe in which we live is an aggregate of individualities. Thus, it is an individual entity. The individual nature of this temporal universe implies that it is the work of an individual cause or an individual creator. Now, the individual nature of this cause implies the existence of other similar causes. They may yet not have created their respective universes, but they exist in the infinite, in the infinitude of possibilities. Therefore, we have potential and effective causes, or potential and effective creators. Now here I introduce an hypothesis whose validity I will prove later. The hypothesis is that every creation exists in its creator. By capitalizing on this hypothesis that every creation exists in its creator, we can introduce an entity which includes all the potential and effective creators. Therefore, that entity is the greatest possible being, because any universe you can imagine will exist in its creator, and the creator must be in this entity. Since this entity is the greatest possible being, this entity is the most high, the supreme being. It then ensures that since the most high is the greatest possible being, the most high must be indivisible and immutable. If he were not, there might be a principle of his mutability and his divisibility, and that principle must be greater than the greatest possible being, according to the law of causality, which is impossible. Therefore, the Most High, the Supreme Being, is indivisible and immutable. Let us introduce another attribute. The Supreme Being is also transcendent. We know that by being transcendent, he is above everything. But all the black people, transcendence doesn't only mean being superior to everything. It means also that the Most High doesn't know evil. Within the setting of his absolute indivisibility, for the Most High to know and to be are the same thing. What what the Most High knows is what he is. Therefore, if the Most High knew evil, he must be infinitely good and infinitely bad, which is impossible. So the Most High is transcendent, and this means that He is not cognizant. He doesn't know evil. We have seen also that every creator expresses an individuality which is included in the Most High. Now, the Most High is indivisible. Therefore, every creator expresses the fullness of the Most High by in an individual manner. We call this fullness the Logos. Thus, we have three celestial entities: the Most High, the Supreme Being, the Creators, and the Logos. Within the setting of the indivisibility of God, these three entities express the same substance, they are coexistent, and they express a synergy of activity. So we are going to examine these things. Now, to put it short, we have defined the Supreme Being. We may call him God, not within the setting of the Anglo-Saxon definition. By saying simply God, we mean the Supreme Being who is the ultimate cause of the temporal universe, who is transcendent, indivisible, and immutable. So we are going to call him simply God. And the creators, we are going to call them children of God. Thus we have God, children of God, and the Logos. And this constitutes a Trinity. Now, a question arises here. Where does our temporal universe exist in relation to the Most High? It cannot be in the Most High, otherwise, at the moment of creation, something new will appear in him and he will change, which is impossible because God is absolutely immutable. It cannot be also outside of God, otherwise, added to God, it will result in an entity greater than God. So the temporal universe is neither outside God nor inside God. And the answer is it is in the temporal consciousness of the Creator, which is the proof of the validity of our hypothesis. From this, we learn that all reality is in God. Because if there were a reality outside of God, that reality added to God will result in a reality greater than God, which is impossible because God is the greatest possible being, entity. So all reality is in God. Outside of Him, there is no reality. This implies that the temporal universe is only a limited perception of the celestial universe, which is the only universe. The visible is just an appearance of the invisible. Reality is spiritual. The material is just an appearance, a false perception whereby reality becomes limited or reversed. So there is only one reality, not two. This also means that the human being in the temporal realm is only a limited perception of his true identity as a child of God in heaven. Solar Trinity is therefore the unity of the Most High, the child of God, and the Logos in their existence, their substance, and in their activity. This is the Trinity of the Black people since the time of ancient Egypt. This Trinity implies that although they are three different entities, the Most High, the child of God, and the Logos are coexistent, manifest the same substance, and they act in synergy. Let us examine this coexistence. We have seen that the Most High is immutable and is the sum total of reality. It follows that you and I are just now in heaven, which we never in reality left. This also means that this temporal existence is just a dream because all realities abide in God. Therefore, this is just a dream. Your true being, my true being, is that we are children of God right here and now. Right here and now we are in heaven. In the practice of healing, the divine practice of healing, this implies that this temporal universe being only a limited perception of the celestial plane, the evil and the limitation which are seen here are only oneric suggestions of a dream. In other words, firstly, heaven is here and now. That is, perfection and abundance are here and now. Secondly, whatever be its nature, evil is always a mental suggestion. It is not part of reality. Third, evil is always an illusion. It cannot reach the point of becoming a reality. We all know that when we ride with a car on the tarmac on a shiny day, we can see a puddle of water in front of us. The experienced driver knows that he doesn't have to stop. He has to keep on riding. The puddle of water will vanish because it is but an illusion. So is it in front of the illusion of sickness, of disharmony. We have to keep on growing spiritually, growing in the understanding of truth, and eventually the illusion will vanish because we are progressing toward reality. Trinity teaches us also that The Most High, the Child of God, and the Logos manifest the same substance. Where we seem to be limited aggregates of limited qualities, we are actually expressions of all the qualities of God taken indivisibly. We are expressions of all the qualities of God taken infinitely and indivisibly. This reminds me the first day I used a gun. A gang was attacking our neighbor. They were they were fighting her, and I recall that we had a gun. It was during the night. The gun belonged to my cousin, but my cousin wasn't there. So I went to their bedroom. So I told my sister-in-law to give me the gun. When I got the gun, it was divided in two parts, the barrel and the stock. I tried my best to insert the barrel into the stock, but to no avail. I realized that something was wrong. I realized that I didn't know the process at that moment. But also I realized that according to divine Trinity, to solar Trinity, I reflect infinite intelligence because I'm in reality a child of God. So I yearn to God for this. I said, my Lord, at that moment, I felt that an invisible hand took my right hand and directed it under the barrel on a precise spot. And when I touched the spot, the barrel separated in two pieces. And I saw that I could now assemble the gun. I instantly knew how to use the gun, the security and everything to insert the ammunition. So I went on the dividing wall of the two compounds and I fired in the air, which frightened the gang. They fled, and our neighbor was safe. Solar Trinity implies also that the Most High, the Child of God, and the Logos act in synergy. This point can be illustrated as the scene of a person standing in front of a mirror. When you stand in front of the mirror, three realities appear. You, the power of the reflection of the mirror, and your image in the mirror. If you move, your image in the mirror moves, and it moves thanks to the power of the reflection of the mirror. Whatever the image does, it only reflects your action thanks to the power of the reflection of the mirror. And this means that God always acts in his children. If we would realize this truism, it will give power to your action. It is God who in reality acts in you and in me through the Logos. When he was arrested and condemned in the town of Banzagungu, in Congo Central, the Congo prophet Simon Kimbangu, as they were about to transfer him to the prison of Ndolo in Kinshasa. He asked first of all to see his three children before going. The colonial authorities said to the machinist, the one who was driving the train, they, they told him, start the engine. We are going not to accept his requirement. But knowing the power, knowing solar Trinity, by being on the wagon, Simon Kimbangu blocked the engine and it could not start. The machinist, the driver, tried his best to start the engine, but to no avail. They understood that something was wrong. They knew that the engine was blocked by Simon Kimbangu. So they called his children. The children came. He spoke with his children, and then he told them, we can go now. They started the engine, and it worked. So remember, it is God who acts in you. This treason of solar Trinity gives you power over evil. We have seen that the Kemetic cosmological argument teaches us a hierarchy of divinities. At the highest level, we have God, the Most High, and then we have the creators, and we have the Logos. At the celestial level, we have those three divinities. In ancient Egypt, the Most High was called Sol in the Book of the Pyramid, and one Lord in the Book of the Dead. So it's the same expression. The creator in the theology of Memphis is Atum or Atom, and the Logos is Ptah. Remember, it is said that by swallowing Ptah, Atom could perform the work of creation, which means that Ptah was the power working in Atom. Ptah is the manifestation of the fullness of God in the Creator. And this hierarchy is seen in almost all African spiritual cultures. I say almost because the exception is the Maasai of Kenya. In Bukongo, for example, we have the Most High, Zambia Pungutulendo, we have the Creator, Mbumbalowa, and we have the Logos, Pinanza. If we take the Vodum of Benin, we have the Most High, Nanabuluku, or Se, and we have the Creator, Mahulisa. Now, Mahulisa is said to be male and female. Now, the conjunction of the male and the female means the fullness of the divinity, the Logos. So you have the three elements. So this hierarchy of divinities is the mark of African traditional religion. And because we have a hierarchy, the Trinity is exercised at all the level of the hierarchy. The superior divinities act through the intermediary of the inferior divinities, the holy ancestors, thanks to the Logos. So it is always God who acts in the holy ancestors through the Logos in order to bless you and me. It is always God who in reality acts in all beings and in all things for the good of his children. Which means that the universe in reality must work for your benefit and not contrariwise. The Congo prophet Mumba Philip was condemned in prison in a part of Congo Central called Lukula. But as he was going to his land of exile, a big dead tree blocked laid across the road, blocking the passage. Knowing that it is God who acts in everything, Mbumba Philip told to the dead tree, "Rise and let me go." Not only did the tree rise, but it resumed life. Trinity gives you and me domination over nature. Ignorance of solar Trinity causes humans being not to exercise their authority over microbes and viruses. Yet, as children of God, we all have authority over creation. It is God who created microbes and viruses, but He made them to be at your service, at my service, to do good, never to do evil. I remember once the daughter of a friend of mine had worms in her belly. The situation was such as all the medicine she took didn't work. Her belly was aching and her body was deforming. One day they met with a lady who told them this lad had worms, but don't go to the hospital. Seek someone who can pray for her. Knowing that I'm a spiritual healer, they come to me. I explained to them Solar Trinity has given to to the child of God, to you and me, authority over all the creation. I explained to them that God gave man dominion over worms and not the reverse. I prayed for them. By prayer, I mean I affirmed the spiritual truth and rejected the lie as being impossible in the divine realm. I realized that that child of God was surrounded with holy ancestors, and the holy ancestor feels him as divine spirits, representative of the Logos. To put a long matter short, the case was healed with that sole prayer. Not a single worm came out, but the pain vanished and the lad recovered his health and form. There is much talk nowadays about artificial intelligence. The development of this intelligence imply not only hope, but also concern about the possible martial use of them and even dubious ethical uses. However, the example of Simon Kibangu and Bumba Philip, shown above, teaches us that thanks to spiritual intelligence, we can protect ourselves from the harmful effects of technologies applying artificial intelligence. It is therefore up to us to develop our initiatory schools of divine mystery to counter the nefarious use of artificial intelligence. Through Christianity, the West has brought its definition of Trinity, its version of Trinity, its strand of Trinity that we call Lunar Trinity, in opposite to Solar Trinity. So it is important for us to establish the difference between that Trinity, Lunar Trinity, and Solar Trinity, which is the Trinity of African traditional religion. Let me tell you that when Christianity was being established, the Western people relied mostly on the thought of Plato, the philosophy of Plato. Now, Plato had studied in ancient Egypt, where he learned that there are three celestial entities which constituted Trinity. But unfortunately, Plato confused the Creator and the Logos as being one and the same entity. So he lacked a third entity in order to constitute a Trinity. Thus, he added the Psyche, which became the Holy Spirit. So the Trinity became God the Father, God the Child, and God the Holy Spirit, which is a complicated notion of God. While in African traditional religion, God is the simplest being that exists because he is made of one one indivisible whole. And lunar solar.
If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share. More on this subject can be found on my books available at Amazon.